Hey everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today I have a 2012 Volkswagen CC. I'm going to walk you how to install the CURT Class 1 trailer hitch receiver. Adding a receiver to your vehicle is going to give you a few different options. Maybe you have bikes and you're tired of loading them in the trunk. You want to find an easier way to haul them around, but you don't want to get a roof rack and have to lift the bikes up on top of your roof each time. Adding a hitch on is going to allow you to put a bike rack on to easily load and unload your bikes. Maybe you want to put a cargo carrier on it so you can get some of your items from inside the vehicle out, make more room for passengers, or maybe you have a few extra things you want to bring with you. Maybe you want to pull a small trailer. The hitch is going to allow you to do all of that. This is what our hitch looks like when it's installed. You can see the cross tube is visible. It's going to be a steel construction, black powder coat finish. It's going to hold up really well against rust and corrosion. We're going to have an 1¼ inch by 1¼ inch receiver tube opening, reinforced collar, give us a little extra stability there. Hitch pin hole is going to be 1/2 inch in diameter. It's going to take a standard 1/2 inch hitch pin. Hitch pin and clip does not come with this hitch, however they can be found here at eTrailer. We're going to have plate style safety chain loops. You can see very large openings that will accommodate larger size hooks. Now I'm going to give you a few measurements and weight capacities to help you when deciding on any of your hitch mount accessories like bike racks, wall mounts, or cargo carriers. From the center of our hitch pin hole to the outermost part of our fascia is going to be about 7 inches. That number is important for any of your hitch mount accessories like your bike racks and cargo carriers that may fold up against the vehicle. You want to make sure they're not going to make contact. From the ground to the top innermost part of our receiver tube, we're looking at about 9 inches. We always recommend, if the top of the receiver tube measurement to the ground is not at least 13 inches, to always use a raised shank. You can find raised shanks here at eTrailer. As far as our weight capacities go, we're going to have a 200-pound max tongue weight, which is a downward pressure on the inside of the receiver tube. We're going to have a 2,000-pound gross trailer weight, which is a trailer plus a load included. I always recommend checking the owner's manual of the vehicle. Make sure the vehicle can withstand the amount of weight. You're going to go with the lowest number between the vehicle and the hitch. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let's walk you how to get it installed. The directions aren't real clear on how to cut our fascia out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and get our hitch kind of set up into place, and it'll help us line up what we need to cut. So this side is going to go over top the exhaust bracket where we just took off the bolts. Pull the fascia out, we'll slide it right over the top of them. Like that. We'll get it lined up on our passenger side frame rail, and then you can see, make sure we're centered. And that'll give us an idea of where we're going to need to trim on each side. Now, the directions are telling us that we're going to have to go up 1.5 inches, which is going to bring us up in here somewhere. What I'm going to do, again, because the instructions for the measurements are approximate, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up to this edge right here. We'll cut that out on each side. We'll test fit it again and see if we need to cut out anymore. I'm just going to use a rotary tool with a cutting blade. Then we're going to repeat it on the other side. Now once I got it cut, what I did is I pushed my exhaust hanger bracket out of the way. You're going to have 2 bolts in your kit. What I did is I just installed them in place of my factory ones. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to drill holes in the frame rail on the passenger side. Installing these 2 bolts and just tighten them up enough where your hitch is sitting level. And this is going to keep your hitch from, or the receiver from, pulling out too far. This will allow us to drill the holes in the correct space on the passenger side. And what I did is I just marked here on my passenger side on the frame rail right in the center of where my hardware is going to go. So now we can take our hitch back down and we'll get those holes drilled out. I'm going to start by drilling a pilot hole, and then I'm going to use a step bit to open my hole up to the correct size. we open it up just enough, our bolt will slide through. I went ahead and sprayed the bare metal with some, you can use clear coat, just something to cover it up. We're going to take the spring end of our pull wire, we're going to go to the very back hole towards the back of the vehicle. We're going to push it in and we're going to come out this hole here. Make sure you don't pull it all the way through where the other end goes up into the frame rail. There it is. We're going to put a little, kind of a bend in the end of this wire. A little hook on that. You're going to take spacer block, put it on, go ahead and feed it up in there. Then we're going to take one of our carriage bolts. We'll thread that onto the wire. Pass it up in there. Maybe easier if you put the head in first. Then we're going to pull it out like that. We're going to repeat that same process for that one. Now we'll slide our hitch back up into place. You want to make sure your exhaust hanger bracket is on the bottom side of the hitch bracket that goes in place. We're going to reinstall the hardware. This time we're going to use a flat washer and a lock washer. We're going to go through the exhaust bracket, through the hitch, and into the existing weld nuts on the driver's side. We'll get one in on our driver's side to hold our hitch up, and then we can install the hardware on the passenger side. Now on the passenger side, we'll take our pull wires, we'll feed them through the corresponding holes in the hitch. We can raise it up into position, remove the pull wire, and then install a flange nut. Now that we've got that, we're going to install our second flange nut here, and then our second bolt on our driver's side. So we'll use a 1/2 inch socket to tighten our bolts down on our driver's side. And we'll use an 11/16 for the two on our passenger side. Once we get everything tight, we're going to come back and torque it to the specifications and the instructions. Now we'll get our underbody panel somewhat lined up, and then we're just going to mark. Again, directions aren't very clear, so we're going to go to about here. We're going to trim this out and see where we're at. Once you get your panel trimmed out, go ahead and reinstall your hardware. Once you have your hardware back in place for your underbody panels, you're ready to go. It's going to do it for a look at installation of the CURT Class 1 Trailer Hitch Receiver on a 2012 Volkswagen CC.